Hi there, today I want to talk about this and how it relates to this. This is the album by British band Metro, which was the brainchild of Peter Godwin and Duncan Brown. The only album where they collaborated because this was a flop and Duncan Brown went to pursue his own solo career, but it's a great album. It's an outstanding late 70s album. I mean, the whole album is a unsung masterpiece of sophisticated pop rock, impeccably written, sung in a very understated, somber, world-weary way. There's a hint of prog rock in the guitar work, but also elements of funk that are already reminiscent of Talking Heads, or what Talking Heads would do some years after that. The bass parts are outstanding, but there's lots of space within the song with almost ambient instrumental parts. Most interesting album. But one thing that this album is also famous for is the opening track, Criminal World, because this would be covered by Mr. Bowie later on for the Let's Dance album. As far as the music goes, the two versions are very different. The original version is a densely layered, complex track with a darker, moodier tone and a menacing electric outro. The Let's Dance version, of course, is pretty much like all Let's Dance, a very mainstream, commercial synth pop on par with what Bowie would do with a China Girl, which is of course vastly different from the Idiot original version. So Criminal World is pretty much in that vein. Another difference, and that's in the lyrics, because if you look at the lyrics on the original version, you find very transparent references to gay culture, and that's also the whole dandy image of the band at the time. So if I take a look at the original Criminal World lyrics, you find lines like, "I'm not the queen, so there's no need to bow. I think I see beneath your makeup. I'll take your dress and we can trek on out. This is no ordinary, what a criminal world." These lines are not on the Bowie version, who replaced them with "I guess I recognize your destination. I think I see beneath your makeup. What you want is sort of separation. This is no ordinary." Okay. Then again, on the original version, you get the famous "I saw you kneeling at my brother's door. That was no ordinary stick-up. I'm well aware just what you're looking for." Okay. Back to Let's Dance. "You caught me kneeling at your sister's door. That was no ordinary stick-up. I'm well aware just what you're looking for," etc. So what would Bowie, who was of course famous for his sexual ambiguity and cross-dressing and the famous "I'm gay, always I've been" coming out of 72, what would he care to change the lyrics to erase all references to gay culture? Because of course 1983 David Bowie had a plan, and his plan was to reinvent himself as the mid-80s yuppie singer with the blonde hair and the suit and the very mainstream commercial pop with everything clean cut. Now bear in mind that for most of the 70s Bowie was one of the most, if not the most influential musician, yet not a commercial hit. Never sold that many records all through Ziggy Stardust to Scary Monsters, especially in the late 70s with the more experimental stuff, Low, Heroes and Lodger. So Let's Dance was his very conscious move into superstardom, commercial success, and that was the big hit he was looking for by any means necessary, and I do mean any means necessary. What I find a bit sad about this is that You find lots of articles after Bowie's death, very laudatory about his role in the LGBT community, and how he's coming out in 72 and his whole attitude was very liberating for young people at the time, so on and so forth, which is very true. But that's just half of the story, and I feel compelled to remind people that by 83 he was in a very, very public way saying, no, I'm not gay, I have never been gay. That was pretty much a lie, because he told the Time, I think, that it was a miscalculation on his part to give interviews back in the Ziggy Stardust day about how he was gay, because he said, no, actually I never was. He even denied the cross-dressing stuff, saying, no, that was just like for the photos. I've never performed as a drag queen or anything, which technically is true, I guess, but it's just a bit it doesn't sound good when you look at it, even at the time. And that's what I want to talk about, because now, was Bowie ever gay? Was it a lie? I don't know, I don't care. Who he slept with back in 72, I couldn't care less. What I do find sad, like I said, is that the early 80s were pretty much the AIDS years, in the sense that that was the time when it was the gay community who was the first victim of AIDS. Those were the days where crazy rumors about gays transmitting the disease were pretty much everywhere, especially in the US. Those were the days where your sexual orientation was considered like literally a public health risk for lots of people. Those were the times when David Bowie chose to turn his back on the whole community and say, no, I'm a straight guy, always have been. And so it's not like that whole sexual ambiguity just came out of nowhere. I mean, he did The Man Who Sold the World cover, John, I'm Only Dancing, Velvet Goldmine, Lady Stardust, so on and so forth. So, just because being gay is turning into a very, very bad PR thing, to not only go out of your way to find this obscure song by a pretty obscure band, but to twist it on its head to eradicate all references to gay stuff, that was not very classy. I love Bowie, always have, always will, but I'm getting very tired of the constant glorification of Bowie as a supernatural figure and sort of a demigod of pop culture. He was a great artist. He was also very opportunistic, and whatever Bowie ever said or done, there's always the suspicion that there's what he thinks, and what he thinks is cool to think. Okay, so Bowie, except for the late 80s, never would have been caught, doing anything uncool or unhip. And like it or not, being gay was very unhip in the early 80s, and that wasn't the look that Bowie would cultivate in 1983. So anyway, if you don't know the Metro album, just check it out. It's a really great record with very interesting dark new wave sound, but in a very organic and electric way. Very interesting album, easy to find. Go check it out. That's it for today. Thank you.